I mean, it feels great. Like we're coming off of a high now that we beat G2, and that we're like one series away from winning the LEC. And obviously, I'm still riding the wave that like is my first final ever. But now I personally need to be really careful because this dream can like crash really fast, you know. I can be like, wow, I made finals after 7 years, and then I lose the title, you know, and it will feel like such a heartbreak, you know, because if we come off of a win like this and then we like crumble tomorrow, it's gonna be like quite devastating, I think. So I just really need to be careful to not let like all my emotions out, you know, just kind of keep it stable and keep doing what we've been doing so far, because we finally found our mojo, I guess, in playoffs. And now I can't let this prospect, you know, of winning my first title after 7 years be the reason we're like falling down. Winning the title would be it's hard, you know, because it was always like the journey, you know, and always being like a bit out of reach. Finals was a bit out of reach, and now that like I have the title in front of me, I don't know, you know, I'm just kind of like, I guess like a little kid where at like a candy store or whatever, you know, and it's just there, and I'm just in shock and awe, you know, that is right there. So it would be unreal, you know, just something unbelievable.
It may have been unbelievable, but today it is very much in Odoamne's grasp. But of course, you heard him say, the higher you fly, the further the fall. Pressure now to close it out. Rogue playing an absolutely fantastic series thus far. The question is, can they close it cleanly 3-0, or will Mad Lions bring it back?
I mean, it's been off to such a great start for them, and even battling against the pressure as well. Game 1, losing out in the early game, but then winning the Drake fights. This last game, I mean, they were winning for most of it, and then all of a sudden, some fights start going wrong, and in the end, it still turns up their way. And now pressure turns over to the Mad Lions as well. Backs against the wall, cannot lose another game today, and specifically for Humanoid in the mid lane. 99% of these games, he has been playing perfectly, but it's the 1% in a Drake fight. Both times missing critically, getting caught out, that has cost Mad Lions wins so far.
Yeah, and it looks like Rogue are basically uncrackable. In the early game, they were behind, they found the fights, they came back. In the second game, they were ahead, but in the team fights, they lost to Baron randomly just from one engage on top side with the ultimate, and then they lost 2 inhibitors. But the mental fortitude was there, despite being down, despite giving up all the Drakes and the Barons. They were patient, and they waited for their moment.
And here we are, 10 seconds away and counting from Champ Select for what very well could be the final game in the series. Can Mad Lions bring it back, or will Rogue close it out 3-0? Gentlemen, I'm not going to lie, I was expecting something a bit more intense, but this is also an absolute banger, so it will do.
I'm cat jamming.
And now, of course, the question is, what are the adjustments coming in? Mad Lions, the team that lost Game 2, got to choose selection. No surprise again to see them on the blue side. However, what are the adaptations? Orianna has been queen every single moment of this series outside of one late-game team fray from Humanoid. Will she remain the priority?
I think what Mad Lions did in Game 2 worked for them. I think the first pick Orianna worked. Yes, Rogue got the Hecarim away and they had to end up giving that up with the Orianna, but I don't think they need to do too many adaptations. Maybe Rogue want to ban away the Orianna to deny that, because that's what kind of kept Mad Lions in the games. That's what found the team fights. But I think Mad Lions will run it back. I would like to see them change the bot lane though. I don't want to see a Senna Tahm Kench. I want to see something more aggressive for Carzzy, something like a hyper carry. We saw him on Jinx. We saw him on things like Vayne and Kai'Sa, something like this, where he can have impact in the fights and it's not all on Humanoid.
Yeah, I completely agree, especially when you look at some of the early laning as well. Carzzy, Kai'Sa finding themselves on the back foot twice in a row now, and Hans Sama has has stepped up as such a critical carry for Rogue.
And I think important to call out that game, eventually Senna did get strong. Eventually Carzzy did scale into being the hyper carry we expect him to be for Mad Lions, but when he was playing the Jinx, when he was playing other champions, he was a hyper carry in the middle of the game. He was a hyper carry in the early team fights, and that matters.
Tristana is open now, but it's still the priority on the Orianna. That was going to be the big question. Been banned pretty much every single game so far in playoffs, but it will be Humanoid back on the Orianna. Full trust on him.
I like this small adaptation from Rogue, just playing the game of bluff. Are you going to first pick Tristana or give us the Orianna? It's up to you guys. Now we'll have to see if Rogue want to pick that away, use it as a flex for mid-bot side, and now they got themselves a free power pick just because they knew Mad Lions prioritized this Orianna above the strongest champion in the game, arguably.
I love it too. I mean, Tristana, one of those champions that fits exactly what Rogue want. Mid lane, bot lane, pretty much always can scrap in the early game, especially with that Hail of Blades. And of course, you have the range advantage, that scaling element as well. No surprise to see the Hecarim come back in for Inspired here for the team fight.
Yeah, the Hecarim doesn't surprise. Giving over Hecarim is the biggest thing there, right? You don't want to take away. You want to take away the Hecarim from them, not pick it up for yourselves. Giving them a Hecarim, Orianna, and Alistar, something like this could be really deadly. But the last time the Mad Lions were on blue side in game 2, they picked their bot lane here. Senna's down, Jinx is down, Seraphine's down, Thresh down, Rell is down. Alistar's up. They maybe want to just match jungle here and pick their top laner Gnar blind, but the Nocturne's up for Odoamne, so that's dangerous. So it looks like Carzzy's going to pick up his Ezreal, which I think we've seen hovering around a lot in the LPL and the LCK, but not so much touched here in Europe.
Carzzy had a solid performance on it, of course, but a champion that in general leads to more questions than answers. I think it's safe to say highly variable. You need to hit every single Q if you want this champion to count in those mid-game team fights. We'll see what he can get done on it regardless. Certainly more set up for success mid to late game than he was on the likes of the Jhin, and maybe a bit more early impact than the Senna.
Look, this is a game, though, when you're down 0-2 in the finals and you're asking your players to be the coach, what will make you comfortable? What do you need to be able to carry and to be able to come away with the win? And for Carzzy, it will be the Ezreal, and it'll be Elyoya on the Volibear. Again, our early game was crazy between the two junglers and their early pathing last time.
Yeah, I like the adaptation from Mad Lion. Just pick a stronger bot lane despite Senna being out. Keep the jungle matchup. I think this is what works for Elyoya, the Volibear. And the second key thing is don't get counters on support. They don't pick their support. They're going to wait till 4-5. They don't want to blind that, get counted on 3. But Rogue picking up the Karma, you'd expect that to go towards the top side. But we've seen it in support, we've seen it in AD carry, so this Karma realistically could go anywhere. With that J-Span, maybe it could go towards the bot lane. Maybe they could pick up something like Varus Karma and then maybe look for a Gnar blind pick to round out the comp. But if that is going to be a Karma top, there's a lot of pressure on Inspired to do the carrying because he's going to be the brunt of the AD damage.
Absolutely true, but of course the other question that we have to ask is what changes in the top lane meta when this Karma goes up there, because it's been Gnar GP in both of our first 2 games. We saw how impactful the GP ult was against more immobile carries like the Orianna. Maybe now with the Ezreal locked in, they want to stay away from it, but a lot is changing already in this picked ban.
And I think the Tristana can go bot lane in this game. Ezreal in lane is very weak, Tristana in lane is very strong. It wouldn't hurt Rogue to put this Tristana into bot side, even with a Karma, maybe a Karma mid, Karma top. They can flex a lot here. And I think that Larssen just has more success on control mages in fights, despite his Lucian performance being good. I think Tristana going bot here could be good, especially with Mad Lions. Targeting AD carries, that's a Nami ban.
That's a Nami ban!
I don't like Nami too much myself as a champion, but I guess it has sustain in lane. Maybe they're picking some kind of range support here. The ban on Nami doesn't make sense unless they're playing a range support bot.
And Kaiser is very good at Nami, having seen the records, but of course, maybe it's something specific that interacts really well in Tristana bot lane and potentially allows you to win early game. Nami notoriously very oppressive in early trades with the power of the W as well as the ebb and flow on the E. That said, does feel a little bit out of left field.
Look, it's nothing that we know that exists, really. This hasn't been shown in the LEC by the Mad Lions or another team, so Rogue clearly have some idea of what that Nami could do here, and it will be Tristana for the mid lane, a Caitlyn, and this implies to me it will be Caitlyn and the Karma in the bot lane, right? You want the heavy push, the heavy aggression. I mean, this goes back to like Han Sama, Caitlyn Morgana days of old.
And imply whatever you want, but ultimately Mad Lions don't know for sure, and there's still the luxury of the flex on the side of Rogue if they want it. Big position of power from Red side to not only have a flex still up and available, but to have last pick, counter pick as well.
Yeah, I think this Caitlyn Karma is probably going bot. I think the Karma will go into the support role with the Nami ban. I like the Wukong pickup, but Rogue need to find more ability power if this Karma goes support. I'm expecting an AP top for Odoamne, but this Wukong blind pick seems kind of dangerous to me in a sense where Wukong's good into AD tops, but then Rogue need more AP. So the Wukong's just there with the Volibear to act as a frontline to get this Caitlyn. I like the fact that they're going for a mini support here. Don't match range support. Just look for engages and try to get the Caitlyn before she can set up the fights.
The Mad Lions are putting all their players on what they want to be able to carry here, right? It's Armut's Wukong. Everyone remembers that back from Worlds play-ins beating out the Mad Lions, showing up on that champion. being a pocket pick of his, to be sure. And now Rogue, they have to make the final decision. Where do these flex picks go?
For the side of Mad Lions, you said it once, Ender, we have to say it again. Comfort is king in this draft. For Rogue,
oh, it just is the Morgana.
Is the key. Caitlyn Morgana. We talked about how impressive it could be with the Caitlyn buffs, I think 2 months ago, and now we finally get to see it again.
Oh man, this is spooky though, because now it's like double enchanters with double marksman, and then you have, of course, the Hecarim as the sole source of engage. Now, Mad Lions do have dive threats, right? You have the Leona, the Orianna Ball, Volibear, Wukong, and the question is, can the enchanters actually keep those backliners alive?
I think the key thing for Rogue here is it's Rogue's bread and butter. You have 3 prio lanes, right? And you have a farming jungler and an engaged jungler. You have a winning top, winning mid, winning bot. The problem is, we've seen these kind of drafts against teams like G2. Once these lanes lose prio, they're going to be really weak. So if Mad Lions can crack Rogue in the early game or crack them in the team fights, Rogue are going to find it really difficult to come back, especially with a Caitlyn Morgana who can't really face check. They need control to have control of the game.
And a critical element of Mad Lions' control in the early game has been Humanoid in the mid lane. Once again, going for the Orianna, this time having to face down a Tristana. Very fierce inside the laning phase. Humanoid has been on point in the early game through most of the game itself, and he cannot make a single mistake here against Rogue, or what they will take the title.
Rogue definitely needs to play clean here, but I think Mad Lions' team fight's very strong. We'll have to see how it goes. It's match point.
Absolutely, it is. Mad versus Rogue. Getting ready now for Game 3. A glass cannon from the side of Rogue. Comfort from the side of Mad. Will it be enough to bring them back? Let's get into Game 3. It's Game 3.
It's match point.
And the pressure is on for Mad Lions. Again, comfort is key, but maybe more important is this level 1 play. If this goes wrong for the side of Rogue, Mad have a little bit more hope. If it goes right...
Did they get past the tower vision there? I wonder if the tower sold them. They're going to get Humanoid. You might have to flash.
No. Leap in. Humanoid immediately has to flash to safety. Trimby maybe a little bit too quick on the trigger finger there. Could have waited for the flash to come out, but Humanoid does make it out. Gives up his flash early, however.
Oh, I love it, though. The creative level 1 from Rogue taking the W on Larssen 2 to jump on forward and force the flash off Humanoid. Now, how do you play as aggressively in this mid lane, especially against a Halo Blade Tristana? Humanoid's early game has been cut.
Yeah, Rogue don't get the first blood there. I was thinking maybe they want to go for a split map. Inspired is in the bot side. Looks like they're just warding the bush. They don't have a sweeper to work with, so it's going to be very difficult for look for a late invade to look to split the map. And it looks like Inspired is going to start on the bot side of the map, which is kind of weird in a sense when you have the Caitlyn Morgana, because Elyoya is going to be patting down, and they really want to push.
And gentlemen, I'm expecting an explosive game, so we have a brief pause before the action kicks off, before anything gets too crazy, before the Caitlyn Morgana try to take over the lane. We have to ask for you at home to chip in. Mad Lions back against the wall. It is do or die. Can they come back? Can they take us to a Game 5? Can they make the reverse sweep happen? Vote yes or no in Twitch chat now, YES or NO for those enthusiasts out there. And we have to see, because this is an unprecedented situation for Mad. They have never been in this high pressure of an environment before.
Yeah, and Rogue already stacking waves in the bot side of the map. The Caitlyn Morgana trying to stack waves. You can see they're not fast pushing. They want to stack a wave, wait for the third wave to crash, and then start poking them under the tower and being really oppressive. The problem is their jungler's pathing top, and Mad Lions know that Inspired's pathing top because of the ward on his red buff. So they know he's not started there, they know he started bot side, so Elyoya has free reign down here. I think Larssen needs to push in, maybe give them some vision, or Rogue need to crash the third wave, put a ward in Tribush to make sure they're safe.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, Caitlyn Morgana, notoriously difficult to gank, especially the later you get into the game. The power of the Black Shield to absorb the initial engage, very, very strong. But you do need good vision, because as you push all the way forward down the lane, well, it doesn't matter if you don't get CC'd with a Black Shield.
Hits, though. The trap's there.
Up, trap follow. Kaiser now trying to go in with the Black Shield there, and Carzzy losing almost all of his life. Elyoya on the way in, though, and Black Shield is down. Level 3 on the Volibear. They just realized, and it might be a little bit too late. Hansama going to be in trouble. He's in the midst of the entire creep wave. Maybe he can get one back.
Oh,
Hansama is too clean. He makes it a 1-for-1. He uses the heal anyway, I guess just for a little bit extra, but that's got to be a good trade for Rogue.
Oh man, Hansama played that perfectly. We'll see if the wave crashes, but he trades 1-for-1 when it looked like he was all but dead because there was no Black Shield to cover him. Unfortunately for him, the wave will have, I think this will actually crash in time by the time Carzzy gets back to lane, so Hans won't lose as much. He only loses a wave here. But that 1-for-1 trade is crucial, especially if we're playing Caitlyn Morgana. If he was to die there and Carzzy gets this whole wave, your bot lane falls apart, and we already talked about this from the level 1, because Inspired's pathing top. Elyoya has free reign towards his bot side.
Oh my word, what a play by Hans Sama. You can see it again, like you said, no black shield, so the gank looks oh so easy jumping on forward here, but it's the trap that Carzzy walks into. Great placement there from Hans Sama. Of course, gets the empowered auto attack for the headshot too, using his flash to make sure he has time to get that auto attack away. And First Blood has told and convinced fans that no, Mad Lions will not come back.
And it makes a lot of sense, because Hans Sama absolutely should have been dead there. That feels like it could have been the saving grace from a very oppressive Morgana K early game. And now you see Carzzy can't really comfortably approach until his support comes in. Fans now shifting to the side of Rogue. Remember in game 1, it was Mad pretty heftily winning expectations with that strong early game, but things shift very quickly. As Humanoid now going to be in trouble. The knockback coming in, but Elyoya on the way in. Inspired just going to zoom right back out. Does not want to stick around for too long.
Yeah, Humanoid had no flash from level 1 there. I think Inspired tried to punish it. Questionable flash from Elyoya there. I think he thought he had more move speed, but Inspired had the Ghost, gets away. Volibear no flash, that frees up all your lanes. Rogue, 3 pushing lanes like we talked about, and Elyoya doesn't find the gank with the flash, and the gank bot is a 1-for-1. This early game is definitely going in Rogue's favor.
And at the start of this series, we talked a lot about what this would mean for the next great jungler in EU, for the best jungler in EU, Inspired versus Elyoya, but we've been more about enabling the laners. And the laner for Mad that matters so much now in this matchup that has to play so perfectly, even in the face of a lot of pressure coming in, is Humanoid, a player who has struggled in 1 or 2 key moments, but that's all it takes in a finals series. We see Odoamne getting aggressive. Humanoid, the guy we have to keep our eyes on.
Yeah, and he's on this Orianna again. The shockwaves whiffed in the later stages of the game, in the mid, in the last Dragon fight. Although he played the game pretty much perfectly, like you said, Endo, just those shockwaves not missing meant that Rogue could go forwards, collapse on him, he falls, Mad Lions fall.
And I mean, that's the struggle with falling down 0-2 in the series, that there are no more mistakes allowed to be made by the Mad Lions. They must win 3 games in a row, and well, with the way our format works, it means Rogue also gets side selection if Mad Lions were to win and force Rogue onto a loss. So things stacking in Rogue's camp. That doesn't mean that it's not possible for Mad Lions as Larssen jumps in.
Hailblade's proccing very quickly, but Tristana out of damage, just leaps right back out. This is the thing about playing against Tristana. She leaps in, she procs all 3 Hailblades autos, she leaps right back out.
Yeah, that is the power of Tristana, winning the lane, winning mid, winning bot, going aggressive here.
Good trap, good follow-up. Kaiser now going to be in trouble. The E doesn't connect, that's going to be key. The 90 caliber net not hitting means Kaiser does get to walk away. Inspired doesn't want to overcommit.
Yeah, Mad Lions really need to weather the storm here. Look at the CS in mid, and look at this bot wave. Hans is pushing in bot, finding almost hits Carzzy. Trimby now out of mana. That frees up the Mad Lions bot lane a little bit, but Larssen can keep pushing these waves and moving bot. No flash Elyoya.
Leaping in, Elyoya now going to be in trouble. Knockback. Larssen now stepping forward. He's level 6. Elyoya walking away for now. Humanoid doing double duty, protecting his jungler and keeping the mid lane farmed.
This is the huge win for Rogue in the early game, is that Larssen does have a lot of pressure coming out of mid lane because of the lost flash at level 1, and because he was able to get this power pick Tristana. Remember, Mad Lions, it was left open this game, and they decided to go for the Orianna instead of it. And now, after the quick rotation from Larssen towards the bot side, it is now Humanoid taking matters into his own hands, moving top.
First ultimate used. How many cooldowns are left available? Odoamne, does he have the empowered W? He does not. The healing, yes he does, is going to come in, but he cannot continue to connect the chain. That means he will drop. Donating the kill of Armut is massive for Mad.
The weak side machine gets dove again, but this is such an important play for Mad Lions. Humanoid finally got 1 wave of mid push, and he was able to get a kill off it. He will TP back to this tower. I think he will end up losing 1 plate. Maybe he loses 2 as well. TP coming in. Really good cross map from Humanoid there. We were talking about how important he'll be. These are the kind of plays he needs to find in such a hard lane.
Yeah, and a beast mode performance from him critical too, with both of his side lanes constantly getting pressured in underneath their towers. Constantly losing out in the push. Inspired continues his priority over the Drakes he's had all series long. And every single game has come down to very critical Dragon fights. And it's Inspired maintaining the control of it early on that has so often put Rogue into the favorable position come that time.
Yeah, and you have to look at the drafts because of that, right? They have the Hecarim, they have the winning bot matchups. It's natural that they'll get these Dragons. And I think having this Caitlyn Morgana push, whether they want to freeze waves and zone away Mad Lions or just fast push into tower to look for plates, Inspired always has options on the bot side of the map. Odoamne gets dove. Good cross map from Inspired, notes that the Drake's free. Takes it, bases goes topside. Now the next objective contest is the Herald.
Here we are. Trimby some good poke down. Carzzy though leaping forward with a lot of confidence, knowing all the cooldowns are gone.
Look at the levels though. Trimby level 6 on this Morgana. Kaiser level 4. That makes it really difficult as Larssen trading again.
And it's important to note that the trades do get harder once Orianna has Shockwave. A little bit harder for Larssen to get in and get out cleanly if there's a jungler in the area. Despite that, Larsen's still playing with a lot of confidence, still fighting for this lane priority. And you can see building over a decent CS lead over Humanoid. Humanoid should get most of this back, but Larssen playing with fire here. Elyoya waiting in the area. Ultimate up.
Predator.
Has to wait, though. Has to wait for Larssen to use his ultimate first. That's why we see the flash away, and he's going to back into his team, gets the black shield, and walks away clean.
The benefit of having a pushing bot lane there, Hansama and Trimby know that Larsen's in trouble. He can move on up there and make sure Larssen stays safe. Still loses the flash, though, and that means there's no immediate counterplay for the Shockwave. Tristana's W not fast enough to immediately juke it out. Of course, you can use it to buffer away here, but you can't dodge the damage.
Yeah, that could be a point of contention for Mad Lions, because right now they need to weather the storm a little bit more. All 3 lanes are pushing into them. Top tower, 3 plates left. Mid tower, 3 plates left. Bot constantly trading, constantly fighting, constantly pushing you in. Elyoya managed to find 2 kills on the map so far, gets mid lane's flash, but I think he needs to find more in this early game if Mad Lions want to crack this game open.
And again, outside of top lane, where this entire series we have seen, I don't want to call it a wet noodle fight, but a relatively chill lane, again, the team fight waiting room, every single lane feels poised on a nice edge. That at any moment, a single kill can blow things wide open. Both teams trading so aggressively, as you highlighted, Kadril, and it is a high-pressure game right now. Rogue need to keep the pressure up, leverage this Caitlyn's power, not let Carzzy scale comfortably in the mid game.
Yeah, and Elyoya's already back towards mid. He has the flash and the ultimate if he wants to dive onto Larssen. And Humanoid has the shockwave too, but you're completely right, Drake, because they need to push this Caitlyn Morgana more, try to get more plays, try to get a bigger CS lead, because if Mad Lions manage to punish that lane perhaps even one time and get control around this bot side of the map, the Caitlyn Morgana finds it really difficult to retake. And that's the key thing about Caitlyn Morgana. Once they're in control, they're in control. That's it and done. But if they lose control, it's really hard.
Very true. See if that's going to be the case. Of course, as much tension as there is for Mad Lions, there's also a ton of tension over the LCS. Their opening ceremony is going to be starting 5 minutes after the end of our potential Game 5 or 2200 Central European Summertime, whichever is later. So don't forget, after this incredible best of 5, there will be another one to follow. Pentakill, you know, could be pretty cool. Cool performance. But that's enough about that, because Armlet's in trouble and Inspired's on the way in. That's going to be a quick flash out from the Wukong, and definitely going to make the next team fight much more difficult.
Yeah, Trimby gets the base off first, so he's towards his Herald though. But Mad Lions have numbers first. Inspired. That's the ultimate. Trimby's here now.
Supports are all in the pit. Rogue really want to fight this.
Helicopter Hecarim just zooming in and out of the fight. Odoamne now retreating, the flash in, the commitment. They don't even need flash on them, but now they're trying to turn it back. Odoamne flash back out to safety, but no, the follow-up is there. They dunk right back down, and Mad take the skirmish.
A critical fight there for Mad to win. Rogue, we've seen they have all these pushing lanes, very strong in the isolated lanes, but of course Mad Lions have all these tools for the skirmishes. That's what they've constantly got to seek out, and the second Rogue show themselves on the Herald, they see their mark.
Yeah, that's the key thing, right? Look at Mad Lions' comp when it comes to the level 6, to the ultimates, the Wukong, the Volibear, the Leona. There's so much to work with, whereas Rogue really only have a Hecarim ultimate when it comes to the 4v4. Yes, Trimby has the Morgana ult, but he needs to find more than one target. So when Mad Lions go towards this Herald play, which they read very fantastically, they were able to win the fight, but they weren't able to pick it up because Rogue, obviously they had mid push. Caitlyn could have been there for the play. Hans was hovering towards mid, so they couldn't actually start it, but they find the kill on Odoamne. He has no flash again. But shutting down this Karma won't be your win condition. Karma will always be strong. She'll always be giving the supportive shields to her carries, and she won't be the one dealing the damage. So Mad Lions need to crack this game open a bit more. Rogue starting Herald again, though, so Mad Lions might look to try to fight again.
Do we just get the rinse and repeat? But of course, you talk about getting those carries ahead for now. No items coming through for either Larssen or Hansama, just bits and pieces working towards some early itemization. We'll see how strong they can be in early skirmishes once they get there. But for now, Mad Lions taking control of the river area. Inspired is the one to start the Herald, but Mad appeared to be the ones to finish it. It's 12 minutes in, so it's going to be a very fast Herald for Mad Lions if they want to get the tower place down. That said, this is what it's costing them. Hansama uncontested on this tower push, grabbing his 3rd plate.
And right now, Rogue with Prio in both mid and bot lane, and the Infernal spawning in just 10 seconds. It doesn't seem like Mad Lions can contest that. You see Elyoya on the top side of his map going ahead and taking that Gromp camp. So once again, Rogue should be able to stack 2 very early Drakes. The difference this time is I'm a little bit more concerned about Rogue's team fighting and the front line they actually have for their 2 carries.
Yeah, you saw him the goal.
Whoa. TP now coming out. Hansama wants to finish the job, but he's not going to have enough time to because he's all in the tower. He just barely gets it again. Making the 1-for-1 happen. Hansama is a madman.
Look, people tell you about the Hansama Draven. They tell you about the Hansama Callista. You can't forget about Hansama's Caitlyn playing this so far back in the day, back on Misfits. He just stares down Carzzy underneath his tower.
And it is a very serious, very high-pressure game, but the act of Caitlyn ulting under a tower is the funniest thing I have seen in weeks. That is Kind of insanity and kind of confidence.
But he had no options, right? Humanoid was TPing behind him. Wait, Inspired ulted
Whoa!
is in.
Humanoid flashing over the wall. They're trying to finish it. He's Inspired. No way out of this one. He's trying to zoom out to safety, but Humanoid grabs the kill. Trimby could now be in trouble. The binding going out, but will not connect. Kaiser over the wall, ready to go in. Where's the Black Shield gonna
Teleport in.
Ulti now committed. Larson on the way. This is gonna be so much money for Larson if he can find this kill on the Humanoid, and he is. They're gonna donate it over to him. The chain connects, but Larson finishes the job. 300 gold in the back pocket of the Tristana.
That's such a weird series of events in a sense. Inspired ults the wave to clear it out from Humanoid to prevent him getting a plate. Then he gets punished, but then they get punished for punishing Inspired because they have mid-push. So Rogue collapsing so well, they managed to trade off the kills. Mad Lions pushing onto this top tower, have the Herald for the plates. But Rogue, before this fight kicked off, before Hansama just stood in front of Karzi's face and shot him with the ultimate, he was 1.3k gold up, and this is a full tower in Hansama's pocket.
Yeah, Hansama getting so much off of this play at the same time. Humanoid doing everything in his he can to get a kill. Of course, then does get traded out by the rest of Rogue, and this is the risk you run when you have very little priority anywhere on the map.
And all series long, it has been mid, it has been bot, and how the jungles can enable them, how the supports can set that up. But in this series, or in this game, Rogue, they're set up for a
teleporting it
top
again.
But that is the 2-0-0 Wukong. That is a level 10 Armut ready to go in. Hansama, not a lot of room to maneuver here. A second ult up and available. He finishes the job instantly with the Divine Sunderer.
And that's the vulnerability of Caitlyn when she's alone. She needs the enchanters behind her so she can be the front line, stepping forwards and damaging Armut. If it's just a straight 1v1, the Wukong's going to win out every time. And this is the second dragon. Rogue have been winning on Dragon Souls, but Mad Lions taking the second dragon. That's a big shift in the game.
Absolutely is. And again, shift in the strategy. Funneling Golden Armut. 3-0-0 on the Wukong. The comfort pick he used to beat Mad Lions. Can he use it to beat Rogue here? Leaping in. Trimby now going to be in trouble. Knockback has to flash out to safety, and Mad Lions feel a little revitalized now. They've got new life. They've got pressure in the mid lane. Let's see what they can do with it.
It's so huge. Mad Lions opening up more carry threats, more dive threats too, with Armut getting all this gold. Again, who's really there to stop him? You have Karma Shields, you have a Black Shield from the Morgana too to try and keep Larson and Hansama alive. But if he does enough damage, if he gets the Sunder, starts working towards the next, he of course can pack quite a punch and ruin the Rogue backline.
Yeah, Armut is really strong in this Wukong. If he can find flanks, if he can find the backline, he'll always dominate the fights. But 15 minutes in, Rogue have all 3 Alto towers. Mad Lions only have 2. That's the win lane, win game kind of draft that they've got here. They're up in gold by 1,000 despite being down in kills.
And we know how much breaking mid-tier 1 can matter for a composition like this. Frees them up so much to push in for a little bit more vision. Very hard for Rogue normally to face check in this mid game when tier 1 is up. They have so many squishy members on their team. It does now get easier. Control around the map gets easier for Rogue. For Mad, yes, they've got the Wukong. Yes, they have the team fight ult, but it is going to be hard with Rogue moving around the map, leveraging the power of the Tristana as well as the Caitlyn.
One thing we've seen Mad Lions prove themselves to be so adept at is seeing fights, especially numbers advantaged fights. And in a game like this, they have so many tools to force those fights. If they can get Armut onto a flank. Elyoya, it's not the press the attack this time, it's the Predator to go flying in towards the back line. Of course, there's going to be a huge target painted on Hansama's back, has so much of the gold of Rogue. And, well, it's also Humanoid leading the charge oftentimes, setting up to see who shows up in top lane.
Yeah, bot wave was pushed all the way to tier 2, so Humanoid knows he can spend time around this top side. And just looking at team fights overall, Mad Lions have so many tools to work with. The only threats that Rogue have are 280 carries, so Armut can build armor, Elyoya can build armor, and once they dive in, all Rogue have are single target damage. Odoamne is building supportive, and Trimby is also doing the same, so Rogue have very little damage in the fights if Mad Lions let this game go later on and have a lot of armor stacked up.
Massive collapse on the top side. There's no other objective to fight for, so Mad may be able to get this one scot-free. You can see pings, red ping, team pings onto the bottom side, knowing that Larson needs to fire back with some damage bottom side if they want to get anything, but for now, not in a position to do so, as Karzi can start to maybe move down to the bottom lane, and Mad, for now, getting an uncontested tier 2 tower in the top lane.
Yeah, even though Rogue are technically ahead in gold, and even with the first items completed on nearly everyone, it feels a little awkward to try and force fights and sort of walk into the Mad Lions with the double 80 carry setup until they get a couple more items under their belt. Of course, just massive pings. When the second they saw Mad Lions go towards the top side, they're saying we cross map. We do not want to mess with them at this point just yet.
Yeah, Rogue slower on the cross map, aren't able to pick up the bot tier 2, and I worry for Rogue in a sense. They're only really 600-700 gold up with this win lane, win game kind of composition. Yes, the Karma and the Morgana can protect this Tristana and Caitlyn, but they only have single target damage protect, barring the Mantra E, when they've got Orianna, Wukong, Volibear, Ezreal, Leona. There's so much AoE dive potential onto the backline of Rogue, and there's only one Black Shield to work with, so Rogue haven't pushed their lane advantage to the point where I can say they're in a comfortable position, and they've only got one Dragon for themselves at almost 20 minutes in the game.
And most of the series has been decided by single shockwaves, single massive cooldowns, big Gnar ultimates. This game for Rogue, they don't have the luxury of these massive damage abilities. They need to slowly chip away at the Mad Lions in a 5v5 team fight, which is certainly going to be hard to do. You already talked about it, the Wukong, the Volibear running at you. How much time do you actually have to auto attack?
Yeah, and Drake, as you talk about this series and how it's been defined by team fighting, we've also seen on numerous occasions overforcing, overplaying your hand, whether it's Armut seeing his angle in, but his backline can't follow up. We've seen it from Inspired too. So with this composition where Mad Lions, all they want to do is go in, they have to choose their fight so carefully, because you make a mistake, you go too far forward, and you give these AD carries the space to actually unleash their full potential. Well, all of a sudden that Tristana is going to be running you down halfway across the map.
Yeah, Mad Lions need to make sure they play kind of like a death ball. When one goes in, everyone follows up. If Wukong goes in, the Leona ult needs to come out as well, and the Shockwave needs to be primed and ready as Armut collapsing this top wave. Odoamne doesn't really have damage to deal with him, and you can see both teams are playing sort of like a 4-1. Armut on top side pushing in, Larssen on bot side pushing in, and the rest of the 4 members grouping towards the mid to contest Vision. I think the next fights will kick off around this Dragon in 50 seconds. Rogue currently have control because Mad Lions are playing top side, but you can see Kaiser's base. I wouldn't be surprised to see Armut base as well. Move into the bot side of the map, contest his Vision, and then look for the fight.
Positioning of Armut, positioning of Kaiser, these players of absolute importance. Of course, Kaiser's teleport, or Armut's teleport rather, will be coming up very shortly. There are no wards though to find that TP flank, like he was able to catch out Hans Sama the last time the Infernal Drake had spawned, and Hans went on towards that solo, and he's now got a Randuin's Omen. So Armut has figured out exactly what type of damage is going to be sent his way, and that guy can soak up so much of it.
It's also a Mountain Soul. Those resistances are only going to get harder to deal with. The good news is, of course, you do have a Kraken Slayer. You have some true damage on the team, but it's still so hard to burn through these high health targets, as now we see the TP used mid lane. Both teams are ready for a full-on 5v5 if that's what's going to take. Herald charges mid. No follow-up quite yet. Still, eyes on the Orion ball. It hits 2, but there's no follow-up. Armut does not want to leap in there quite yet, and now the turn could come in. They know there's no major cooldowns. They
got
instantly
Humanoid.
burn them down. Humanoid overstepping the shockwave, costing them more than it earned.
It cannot keep happening. Mad Lions back are against the wall. Lose one game, you lose the LEC, and Humanoid again in the critical team fight 20 minutes in with a Dragon on the line oversteps his bounds.
Yeah, Mad Lions, that team fight was definitely not what they wanted. Both carries from Rogue, despite getting hit by the Shockwave, were under their tower, so there was really nothing they could do to follow up because there was a wave in their face. So Humanoid having flash up, getting hit by a binding, and then just getting taken down means the fight's over. It's only going to be the second Dragon for Rogue. It won't be Dragon Soul Point because Mad Lions managed to deny the second one, but you don't want to be making those kind of mistakes.
And as good as this looks, it is an instant wake-up call to Humanoid when he realizes as strong as the Wukong is, as strong as the Volibear is, he is not tanky. One binding, double 80 carries, auto attacks, the Hecarim. They may not be able to kill all 5 members of his team easily, but they can take him down in an instant.
And the thing is, the way Rogue have to play these team fights is they're waiting for something like the binding. They're waiting for the overstep, the moment the fight turns, and they can go on the offensive. And then it's so hard for Mad Lions to run away from double range threats.
Yeah, and especially when these carries are getting items. You can see the double Dominics coming out. You can see Caitlyn already has it. Larssen's building towards it. Odoamne might be getting caught out here. Elioya has Predator.
Leap in. Just gonna get the flash for now. Have to be happy with that one. Keep in mind, when we look ahead to the team fights as that play goes south, Mad, they are a shotgun. They get one shot, they need to kill everybody, because if fights go long, it's double Moonstone Renewer, Staff of Flowing Water. We've seen it all season. Well, now we're seeing 2 on the same team. Rogue are set up to survive anything if Mad cannot immediately take them out.
Yeah, and Rogue are going to be so strong when Larssen bases. We'll see what he picks up, but I think he's going to have the Dominics as well. 2 of them now picked up for Rogue. 20 minutes in the game, double Moonstone as well with the Staff of Flowing Water from Odoamne. I think this Rogue comp is slowly coming online now. Mad Lions need to be careful.
And I have to ask our observers to show us the gold now, because Hans Sama has just broken 10,000, 2K up over both Humanoid and Carzzy. Armut the only player on Mad Lions that even comes close. So Mad Lions need to figure out, how do we kill Hans Sama? Yes, Larssen is a threat, but that Tristana, very slippery and not quite as powerful as Hans at this point in the game.
And Hans Sama has been so key for Rogue in this playoffs, whether it's the Ashe Kalista, whether it's the lane priority, or the Caitlyn now just playing to dominate across the board. That said, Kaiser looking to kick things off. The Black Shield will stop the engage in its tracks. And Mad Lions are going to have to look for a fight. Elioya ready to go over the wall. He can shut down the tower. It would be so incredibly brave to try and force it.
Fired on the
flank. Good poke onto Armut. They're now backing away. They don't have a creep wave. It's too
Sees
easy for Rogue to
Kaiser.
take that one down. Kaiser, no engage left. They get pulled back. The Shockwave only going to connect on one. Trimby will be sacrificed, but now the re-engage comes in, and this is where Rogue are in their element. Ulti coming out for Hansama. Not quite enough mobility to follow up, but Rogue trading even overall.
It's a double kill for Hansama, and Rogue continue to hold their ground, defending their mid lane tower. Mad Lions keep throwing everything at them, and Rogue, they might just go for the Baron.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to start it up. Armut and Humanoid don't have the ultimates. There's not much Rogue have to worry about here. Inspired's making his way back. Larson has the ultimate to work with. odoamne can shield them while they start this up. Mad Lions looks like Hans
Carzzy is massive.
Hans gets chunked out so much from tanking the Nash from the True Shot barrage. Looks like Rogue have used all their tempo to start up this Baron. They're going to have to base. Mad Lions are all ones with control now. Despite losing the fight, I think they can pick up this mid tower.
Yeah, they certainly should be able to find the mid tower. Good chunk from Humanoid again, just forcing Larson further away from that area. So when everything is said and done, Mad Lions do get the tower, but it's at the cost of 2 players.
Yeah, Inspired looks for Kaiser here because he's tanking up the tower and he has no flash, so the engage is good, but he essentially trades himself for the support, which is not what you want. The Shockwave coming out pulls back Trimby, and Mad Lions think they can keep going with the dive. The problem is Elyoya doesn't get to use his ultimate. He doesn't get to disable the tower, and because of that he gets binded. He can't use his ultimate, gets taken down, and Mad Lions lose the fight when they're trying to dive them under tier 1, but can't actually get the ultimate to get the dive going.
Gentlemen, kills me to say it. We got to pause. We'll keep you guys updated as to what the issue is. Thank you again for joining us for this incredible final for the LEC, and good to see smiles on the players' faces, and you should have a smile on yours too, because just kidding, we're hopping back in. It's the fastest pause known to man. We're not even playing on a delay. Wow.
It's a very quick pause.
That's a first.
You know what? I love it. I love it. Just a brief respite in the action, a moment for the Mad Lions to catch their breath here.
And I think it's important that we take a second to catch our breath too, because as tense as this series is, Rogue are on the cusp of a monumental achievement, not just for the organization, but for 2 of their most veteran players. odoamne, again, we talked about at the start of the day. He can't even believe that this is a position that he's in. For Hansama, he fought once to make it to the finals with Misfits. Good performance at World. Years after, he was a part of Super Team after Super Team after Super Team. Never quite cut it. But this playoffs has been a different story.
And for the organization of Rogue as well, to come into the LEC and in that first split, be the worst team, one of the worst teams in the LEC. After that, they bet on rookies in Inspired and Larson. Well, they're still here, and they are 1 game away from winning the trophy.
Yeah, it felt like Rogue was leveling up every year, and they've hit their final form, you'd say 2-0 up in this series on match point. Looking at the trophy in this game, the game is very even though, but a lot of the power is in the carries of Rogue, Larson and Hans. Hans has 3 items, Larson's building towards it now. Mad Lions with this massive teamfight comp. If Larson and Hans can dodge away and get damage out, get a kill and start moving forwards, it could be over for Mad Lions. They need to play these teamfights carefully, pick their targets, and like you said, Dracos, they're almost like a shotgun. They need to all go at the same time.
And I think carefully might not be cutting anymore, Keijo. I think it might have to be perfectly, because this is a 3-item Caitlyn backed up by 2 supports. This is not something that you survive. 1 misstep, 1 step on a trap, 1 binding connects, and you will get 1 shot. Even the Wukong is going to struggle against the sheer damage output that can come through from Rogue's comp. That said, the fact that they can poke with Carzzy, the fact that they can fish for this setup is good news for Mad.
The trap setup, though, for Rogue, very difficult to get around. That's why we see all of Mad Lions going underneath this fight. Doesn't mean it's hard for Armut to find the flank, but he's gone first right to Dirk. He knows he has to kill that Caitlyn. It's the only option for Mad.
Mad Lions need to be careful for the bindings. 1 binding hits into trap, they're dead. Inspired wants to split off from his team because he needs to find flank engages to stop them from being able to chase down Hans and Larson. The Dragon has spawned. This could be Dragon Soul point for Rogue.
Watch the Orianna ball. Watch the flashes for both the carries on the side of Rogue. Can they hold on? But a poke comes in. Really locked in on the target. Trapline reset up here around the fight. Inspired regrouping with the team. It's getting lower and lower. Can they take it away? Now they're leaping and they just want the objective. They want to, but they don't burn it down. The Dragon resets. The Dragon resets, and still Mad Lions get it. That is disaster. Armut into the backline trying to get anything done, but he still gets cut down. Rogue are simply too strong in the fight.
Rogue get 2 kills after Mad Lions try to re-engage. Humanoid was able to secure the Drake, but at what cost? They get the Dragon, but now Rogue are straight back to the Baron.
And you can see the control this composition has with the Caitlyn Morgana. They can't walk up. I was worrying for Rogue because Mad Lions were pushing into the tier 1 looking for dives, and they had control of the river, but once Rogue gets the setup, it's so hard for Mad Lions to crack it. They tried to go through bot, they tried to find engage. Held my breath for a second there, because if that stole the Baron, that could be a disaster for Rogue, but they get the fight. Maybe they don't get the Dragon, but they get the Baron.
And here we can take a look at it one more time, but a messy, hectic fight in the pit.
Yeah, of course, you see the Drake sort of resetting there, gaining some HP by Hansama kills Elyoya. And then this is where Rogue are just able to disengage it. Ultimately, Hansama stays alive barely, but does survive at the end with all the heals and the shielding from his double enchanters.
Yeah, and despite Armut getting a lot of knockups there, Carzzy wasn't really in the fight. He was towards the bot side Tribush. Humanoid almost getting caught out there, but Carzzy was on the bot side of the fight. He couldn't really join it. He was not outputting any damage. Humanoid didn't have Shockwave either, so it was just the Wukong Cyclone doing all the backline damage, and Hansama was able to live in the end.
And we've seen that Armut, when he has to go forward in the fight straight at Rogue, it's much easier for them to try and kite it out and not have all the extra damage come in. It's been inspired on the flank pretty much every time, stopping him from finding that optimal position. Mad Lions have to figure out a way to get Armut into the Fog of War to find that angle into a fight.
Mad Lions just under more and more pressure, as if match point wasn't enough, as if the potential of a 3-0 clean sweep from Rogue was not enough. But we heard it from Ottawamne. We heard it after the loss to Mad Lions. We heard it yesterday in his interview. He believes firmly, everyone on Rogue believed firmly, even after that loss to Mad, that they were the better team, that they struggled on the day, but that they were stronger across the board. And today, they are looking to prove it.
Yeah, they were winning those early games, and they definitely have the advantage here. Game 3, they're ahead. They have this 4-man ball comp going into Ottawamne now, almost like a 5-man ball comp with a Black Shield. Hansama's able to step up and hit the towers in Mad Lions' face. Mad Lions pushing top is a good thing, but Rogue are playing on 2 lanes. They need to find a way to stop this siege.
There's still a minute and a half left for Rogue's Baron with 2 ADCs, double enchanters. Like, how do you stop the siege? It's so hard without forcing a fight. Armut is teleporting in. It's all or nothing for the Mad Lions.
It's the big bet. Can they do it? Inspired, ready to interrupt. Elio has to go in. They know they have to go for this, but Armut waiting into the darkness. The ulti used, though. The ulti from Inspired does not connect to Hansama, though, the one that you need to watch. The lead back. He dodges the shockwave. Larson untouched. Mad Lions have not found the fight that they're looking for, but Kaiser goes for the re-engage anyway. Elio off to the backside. The flash. The stun. Is it enough? Hansama is still alive. Hansama will get shut down. Kaiser grabs the kill. Inspired getting cut down where he stands, and Rogue have to run for the hills. Mad, they found their fight. Mad, they found their opportunity. Can they find more? Ottawamne next on the list. He will fall. Mad Lions do it again from the grips of defeat. They see their angle into the fight. It's Armut teleporting into the back, and somehow through all the chaos splitting up the 2 carries, they take down Hans.
That was the key thing here. They split them up. You can see Armut was waiting for the time. Larson used the rocket jump, and then Elyoya and the Black Shield's down. Now Armut goes in. Now the key thing here is he doesn't one-shot anyone. That's fine. It doesn't matter because Rogue split up. Larson goes top side with Inspired, and then there's a 3-man ball towards the bot side. Mad Lions in the end decide, let's go for the 3-man. The Black Shield's down, and Kaiser manages to flash forwards here and chain CC Hans. Can't get the damage out. The Black Shield is used on Trimby. Mad win the fight.
We pinned the entirety of the hopes of the Mad Lions in this series on Humanoid, and yet the entire team stepped up in that fight. That shockwave hit no one, but it didn't matter because Mad Lions' setup was flawless.
Yeah, and we've seen throughout the whole series, if Larson falls, Hans picks up the slack. If Hans falls, Larson picks up the slack. But in this fight, Larson wasn't there to pick up the slack. Hans died, Larson wasn't in the fight, and in the end, Mad Lions have found a comeback. They've got a gold advantage, 1 minute on the Dragon, and they've stopped the siege.
And I love what you're seeing now coming out from Armut, because the pressure is on, and yes, he needs to perform, but he has just picked up the Serpent's Fang. Suddenly, all of those defensive tools from Rogue feel a little bit weaker. All those options to protect the AD carry feel a little bit weaker, and now Mad's teamfight access gets a little bit easier. This is good news for Mad, but they are not out of the fire yet.
Mad Lions cannot allow Rogue to get into the river before the Drake spawns. If Rogue are the ones hitting Drake first, it means they have the Caitlyn traps. It means that Mad Lions only have so many ways to get in there. That means that Armut cannot find his flank.
Smart play by Rogue, though. Let's not walk into river and find a fight. Let's just push mid, and eventually Mad Lions will have to base, or they're going to lose the game. There's still 30 seconds on this Dragon. I think Mad Lions were in this bot side river a bit too early. The recalls are split. They're hitting this tower.
Can they break the tower? It looks like they just get it uncontested. Excellent read from Rogue. Don't even need to draw any blood to break the tower.
But look at this. Armut didn't actually recall. He's been waiting inside the jungle. He knows there's no vision here. He has the flank for Mad Lions.
He has flash up soon as well. Rogue need to push 1 more mid wave before they can walk in. They will have a trap line. I believe Hans should have it up, but keep your eyes on Armut. Flash coming up now.
Serpent's Fang, Divine Sunderer.
Oh, Trimby expects something.
Level 16. Will he spot him out? Spot him out ahead of the play, you might find yourself.
Oh, they saw him! They saw him! They're pinging him!
They're turning away. Carzzy's ultimate hits Hansama, but it's not nearly enough. Predator now used. They're going to get the objective, but now Mad have to take the fight. Hansama has the shield. Armut into the back line. It might be a little bit too late. He gets knocked right back out, and Rogue, they're taking their time on Mad Lions, but they're winning the fight. Carzzy, no room to maneuver, but still, just in time, the Locket saves the day. Trimby pulled back. Humanoid coming in clutch. Armut coming in clutch. Mad Lions finding the fight versus Rogue.
How did Armut survive? He went into 3 members, he got knocked away. The ultimate from Caitlyn won't pick up Carzzy. There's no Baron for Mad Lions. They're still fighting here. Hans has no summoners. He's 1 versus 3. Ottawamne has TP if he wants to join this, but there's no way to TP too. Hans has to play this really careful. He's really strong. He can almost 3-shot anyone that walks into his range, but Mad Lions need to be careful.
Mad Lions also taking their time. They know if they stagger the recall,
It's
Baron's
45 seconds to Baron.
As long as they take their time and find the kill, Hansama has no recourse left. It's a free Baron for them as well. They grab Hansama, Baron in the sights of Mad Lions.
Such a good play from the Mad Lions there. Yes, they lose the Drake, but from the flank setup from Armut winning the kill over Larssen, taking him down and then keeping Hans off the map. It's a 10-second difference from the Baron spawning to Hans spawning, and that's so critical for Mad.
Yeah, Trimby was smelling something. He knew someone was behind them, and eventually they spot out Armut, but the key thing I want to focus on is Armut again, because he doesn't manage to find the flank, but eventually he goes over the wall, and when he does, I thought for sure he was dead here. Look, the black shield's down, he jumps over the wall, and he gets in straight into a binding. I thought he was dead, but he gets knocked away, which gives him time to find a re-engage. Larssen tries to find him, and he dies on the side in the 1v1 with Odoamne next to him, and Hans was left alone on the bot side. The shockwave took down Trimby, and from there it falls apart for Rogue. They split up again!
And here we are, Mad Lions on the Baron. They were falling further and further in behind, but now they are in control of this game. Yes, they are down to Dragon, but they are up 3,000 gold. They are scaling into this game, and you can see very clearly Armut is not a man to be messed with. Two-time TCL champion. He earned this spot in this league by beating Mad Lions at Worlds, and he is not going to throw away that shot.
He was the upgrade Mad needed. They're also bringing Elyoya onto the team. Mad Lions and Rogue both making money moves in the offseason. They find themselves in the finals here, and it's Mad's top laner stepping up when it matters to try and take Rogue to another game.
He's having such a huge impact in this game. Blind picks to Wukong. His jungle mid play towards topside. Despite being under so much pressure, they found kills on Odoamne, which gave Armut room to breathe, take down the tower, and start roaming around. Now, 33 minutes into the game, Mad Lions have Baron. Rogue have good wave clear, though. They have the traps from Caitlyn. They can slow down the siege, but watch Armut. It's a 1-4 comp. The pressure is going to be on the side.
Armut's even got a Serpent's Fang. He's just trying to cut through all the shielding that Rogue are trying to put on their double AD carries, and it's felt like in these fights, Mad Lions have succeeded in splitting up Rogue, at making it so Hansama can't freely auto-attack.
The question is, Europe, do you believe in the Mad Lions? Do you believe in Silver Scrapes? Do you believe in a reverse sweep? Rogue were in control, but Mad Lions have wrested it back. Can they do it more? Can they find the win here? Can they close it out?
Such a big top wave crashing. Hans has to clear out the whole thing. That means Mad Lions can just do a switcheroo, run it down mid, get the mid tier 3. Maybe they can look for the inhib. There's another top wave coming in. This Baron buff is going to last a little bit more. So how do Rogue hold on? Do they just wait for Mad Lions to just take a couple inhibs and then let them back off and regain control afterwards? Or do they want to look for a fight when Mad Lions step up too far?
Yeah, but how do you force a fight unless Mad Lions overstep their bounds? We've seen when a binding lands on critical target, it looks easy, but it's hard for Inspired to convince his team, if I dive in, no one else is following him up. It's that distance that's really challenging.
And that's the key thing, because if he dives in, he needs the Black Shield to get out because he has no flash, and if the Black Shield's used on Inspired, Armut has all the room to play with on the backline. So Mad Lions pushing in top now. They've got the mid inhib. Armut's keeping top pressure, and they're going to play with their 4-man on the bot side. Armut has TP to join, so now Rogue have 3 points of pressure. Clearing out mid waves, clearing out bot waves, clearing out top waves. It's a lose-lose. What do they want to do?
I mean, Armut even potentially has a flank down to this bottom lane. They're bringing Carzzy up into the top lane to make sure they can knock down this tower. Bot lane falling down low too.
Hansama! Humanoid! He finds the shockwave. He couldn't do a game 1. He couldn't do a game 2, but when it mattered most, he finds the pick. Mad Lions moving in. Elyoya moving in. Kaiser there for the follow-up. There is no escape. Mad Lions will not go quietly. Mad Lions will not be clean swept. It is Mad Lions who will find the win in game 3 and bring it back for game 4.
One shockwave was the nail in the coffin for Rogue. The final shockwave of the game finds Hans. Trimby was in range for the Black Shield, and Mad Lions turn this into a series. 3-2 from Armut. He believes in the reverse sweep.
And the fortitude to hold on in a game that by all means, when that Caitlyn and that Tristana got ahead, looked unwinnable. To find the flanks, to find the engage, Humanoid stepping up when it mattered, Armut stepping up when it matters. No more Gnar, GP sitting on the top side. It is all about this action.
It was the comfort picks, both sides. We had the Caitlyn for Hans, we had the Wukong in the top lane for Armut. And Armut, no stranger to lifting the trophy, 2-time TCL champion, will not be denied just yet.
And you can see Mad Lions is planning those fights. It wasn't to find a wombo combo. It wasn't to find the obvious backline. It was to disrupt it, to make them split away, and then pick them off one by one.
Absolutely fantastic. Of course, for Mad Lions, they secured a massive win to stay in the fight for the title. And after the break, Shox, Vedius, and Bwipo will highlight what changed from the previous games.
losers, still no friends, huh?
Why can't you do something normal?
How did you get past the loading screen? You beat her!
You haven't got what it takes.
Come on!
The systems are overloading. We can't risk another game.
We need to take a break and regroup.
We're starting to lose our mind. Captain, we cannot go back to Elo Hell. Last time it took us months to get out of it.
Initiate break protocol.
Hurry up!
Yes! Yes! I did it! We did it! We did it!
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Everyone to the Analyst Desk. Mad Lions pulled off a massive comeback in Game 3, and the dream of the reverse sweep and the LEC title for them is now still alive. Coming back from match point, I know I sound excited because I am excited. We had enough 3-0 finals, so I am happy that the Mad Lions were able to give us a bit more, and it was very impressive the way in which they did it, Fetty.
I think that they have shown in 2 games now that they can go toe-to-toe in the late game team fights. And at the beginning of the day, we talked about how our Mad Lions the best team fighting team in Europe, and I think that they've showed that they're willing to fight and they're willing to try till the very bitter end to make sure that they can get those those fights so that they don't go down without a good one.
Let us look at the tools that they gave themselves in this Game 3, Verius. This draft from Mad Lions screams comfort to me across the board.
We see a very common pick that we've seen for Armut throughout the split. We also saw the early priority on the Orianna. We also saw an early prioritization for the Ezreal onto Kazi as well. Normally, they have been saving their bot lane picks for the second rotation to make sure that Armut can get the Gnar, but they've completely abandoned that strategy and instead wanted to get a safer bot side and try to play through top.
I think what's most interesting about this is that the Wukong was picked into a relatively rough matchup. Karma is not easy to navigate for the Wukong in the early laning phase, and you saw it, right? Even though they dove top lane, he was 2 plates down, equal in CS. Usually, when you're on the receiving end of a mid-jungle dive, you're up 2 plates and up in CS.
Interesting that is, because you know, maybe that's something that you can identify with a little bit in terms of, I'm going to pick it even though I know it's not necessarily going to be the best for me in lane, but it's comfort and I know that I'll be able to do better on it late.
I think that's 100% what happened here. Honestly, they didn't quite execute the Wukong up until later in the game. There were 2 fights where Mad Lions were really hungry for a team fight. You saw the Kazi on the Ezreal and Humanoid on the Orianna walking up all the way to the enemy mid-tier 1 and start a fight underneath the mid-tier 1 where the Wukong can't actually do anything.
So they needed to make that adaptation.
And I think that what we saw was that the thing about Rogue's draft is that they had priority across the board. We heard the casters talking a huge amount about it. And with a draft like this, it's all about getting ahead and then getting to those core item spikes with the double AD carry and then the Karma Morgana support. And in theory, a team fight against this should be incredibly difficult. So Mad Lions is saying, okay, we want as much dive as possible, as much wombo combo so that we can burst these AD carries as fast as we can. But getting to those fights was very difficult. And I think the early game is where we started to see some of the good plays from Mad and what they needed to do for their comp.
Exactly. Elyoya, who was crowned Rookie of the Split a little while ago, not having the best time in these series so far in terms of game wins, but he was crucial in this early game for Mad Lions.
He certainly was. And one of the things that he needed to do was be active on the map, because when there's so much priority in this lane, you have to try and relieve that pressure. And even though there were ganks, you saw some great performances from players like Hans Sama, but in the end, they were able to get advantages, in particular in the top lane onto Armut, where they could funnel a lot of gold into him so that he could be this potential threat later into the game.
Honestly, I think this dive was crucial. The next one as well, like Armut getting 2 kills coming out of this laning phase was huge. Elyoya finding the fights in a comp where, honestly, all 3 lanes are losing. Like, slowly but surely, you saw it mentioned on the cast as well, the plates were going down. They were all behind in gold across pretty much every single metric. All 4 roles were behind in gold.
And what we do see here is that, you know, it helped, of course, the strong early game action. It does give the advantage over to the Mad Lions, but the gold is actually not that far apart because of the strength that is coming out of those rogue lanes.
And that's why we saw the desperation. You were talking about it before, Bwipo. They just kept trying to force fights underneath that mid-tier 1 because they were like, if we can just get a good 5v5, we can swing the game back in. But unfortunately, they couldn't get it, and they were slowly bleeding more and more and more. And, like, we were convinced that the game was over, right? Like,
it looked pretty doomed.
It seems so doomed after like that mid-fight went wrong. The fact that Rogue got Baron, you have a double AD carry comp sieging onto the enemy base, and you're looking at this game and thinking, okay, well, 3-0, congratulations to Rogue, but Mad do what they have done consistently throughout playoffs, which is get creative. They look for these good fights, and this is where we have to give so much praise to players like Armut and their ability to find these good flanks, which is what Bwipo was talking about earlier on.
Let's look at I think that is the final team fight then that we're going to look at here on the desk, specifically when the pressure is on. It can't be more on than this, Bwipo.
Honestly, I think a great performance for Armut to wait out. He's waiting out for the Volibear to fake the engage, get the Black Shield. Black Shield is out, Armut goes in. Great execution from Armut, gets the knock-up, splits up the team, and right now you see the whole of Mad Lions. Armut's not getting greedy, he's not committing for the kill onto Larssen. They're turning around and making this fight, picking a 4v4 or 4v5 fight with Elyoya flashing in on Hans Sama.
I think the zoning that Armut was able to do against Larssen, and the fact that Larssen also altered away the clone, was just so impactful. And huge props to Armut and the fact that Mad were able to find this fight. But we were sitting with Bwipo backstage, and he was constantly talking about, okay, if you're Armut, all you're doing is looking for a flank in every single fight. And I'm sure Rogue knew this because you saw them multiple times trying to ward the sides, trying to stop any potential flank from coming through, but it wasn't enough. They couldn't stop it. Mad found back-to-back great flank team fights. Armut was sitting in a bush for like a minute, I think, in the very final fight as well. And so, like, they were able to find these good fights, and you can see the man on your screen now swagging his way on the stage. They're looking to get the reverse sweep.
My producer actually told me earlier, John told me that Armut finds every single camera in the studio feel like even where we just have them for like other stuff for later, he just finds them and stares into them. So that's great for some editor. But let's get back to this game. Of course, Matt, they claw it back, Bwipo, and we didn't necessarily see it coming, even though we always knew it was on the cards because of how close even game 2 was, right, in the end, and how Rogue clawed that back. Do you think Matt has turned a new leaf here?
I mean, it's a step in the right direction, but again, they kind of needed a miracle this game. They needed a miracle in game 2. It's hard to say that it's not going to be a 3-1 for Rogue still, but honestly, it's a step in the right direction. The question is, can they continue to find these early game leads?
I personally think that Rogue just need to go back to doing what's worked for them, which is put Hans Sama in a position to carry. He is having a phenomenal series so far, along with the fact that Trimby, that bot lane, is doing extremely well in the 2 versus 2, and you just kind of play towards the late game team fighting, because it seems that teams with an early game lead are actually not benefiting off the back of it. It's all coming down to these late game fights, because that is what Mad want, and that is what Mad is forcing.
And then that would spell out to me, well, then just draft the best possible back-to-front team fighting comp. It seems logical, but actually they won with more comfort around the board, even though it obviously had fantastic elements for team fights as well. So where do we think this is going to evolve when we now know that Rogue is now finally on the blue side for game 4, still on match point?
I think Orianna has been a huge point in all of these games. I think ultimately, even though he didn't have any huge plays on the Orianna, still, her consistency in putting out the damage, putting the ball somewhere, has been crucial in the follow-up.
So do you think across the board that's the most important pick we're looking at?
Top lane matchup for me is what I'm honestly looking at. I think that when it comes to the ultimate fights, it is down to the carries, but when I look at how fights have been playing out, things like the Gangplank ultimates, the things like the Gnar in the first 2 games, now we're seeing the Wukong. While in lane and in the early game, these top laners are not having impact. When I look at these later game fights, to me, it is these top laners that are actually swinging the outcome of the games. And I feel that depending on how that matchup goes, what agency odoamne and Armut have will very much depend on how game 4 swings.
All right, very exciting stuff. Rogue and Mad Lions are in the finals for the first time, and for the players, this is the most important series of their career so far. Can the Mad Lions rise up and take us to game 5 in Silver Scrapes? Find out after the break.